we go again.
I don't believe last night. 6 straight hours of put-downs. Those guys ought to take their act on the road.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about Wave 2 of the Dungeons & Dragons figures from Hasbro. Now, this is based on the animation, and this is going to be pretty much along the same lines as what we got with Wave 1, but looking at them, they look to fit the bill. They're going to match. We're going to have a really nice team once it's all done. I do hope that they learned from Wave 1. They fixed their issues, such as breakage, such as, well, they didn't fix packaging, but there's some stuff they could have learned from Wave 1. Hopefully they did, but they probably didn't. But we're going to dive into each one of these, and I'm going to tell you what I think about them specifically, and then my hopes for the future, but also my disappointments in the Wave. Coming up. So first off, we're going to talk about Eric, and when you look at it, you could tell, yes, this is Eric from Dungeons & Dragons from the cartoon. This makes sense. But the head sculpt to me doesn't really seem to match the character, the cartoon, as well as I would have liked, but it's still close enough. Now remember this is a $25 figure. I can only find it for pre-order right now as I'm filming this at ABTS and Entertainment Earth, so Walmart and Target haven't seen it for pre-order just yet there. Those sites are charging $25.99, so $26, but they are up on Amazon for the normal $25 more. Well, dollar adds up, right? They're still going with that closed box packaging, and I think the closed box packaging is problematic with this toy line because of the breakage and the wrong figure put in there, missing accessories and parts, so it's been very problematic, even more problematic with this toy line than any other toy line. But also for that, people aren't buying doubles, one to keep sealed and one to open, because they can't see what's in the box. So looking at just the figure, he does come with his own die. It's different than the other ones. I missed how many sides it has, but pretty cool. And then he has a shield. Now, the only accessory he has is this magic shield of his, which really is all he had in the show. He also has a cape. Of course, it's not soft goods, but it's pretty cool overall. I do like, more or less, how this figure's set up. I would have thought there'd be some sort of paint on the belt. So this gets into what one of my friends called me up and let me basically express to me what he thought about this toy line. And he says that it feels like Wave 2 is super ultra cheaping out on the paint apps. Meaning that like this belt isn't painted, the hands aren't painted, or the gloves. There's nothing painted on pretty much this whole figure, aside from the head and the shield. So that might be a good point. It just looks a little bit boring and lackluster because of the lack of paint. But still, we can tell that it is Eric. And do they call him Cavalier? This is still going to look really good on your shelf, in your display, and with the rest of the team. So it's still one of those things that I'm glad Hasbro's continuing with this line. Now, obviously, they put a lot of time, effort, and money into the R&D and developing these figures, and it's not like they just worked on this 3 months ago. This is years in the work to get these figures out, and very nice looking set once it's done. As you can see, they're doing with the shield, I believe what they're doing with the shield is a clip-on piece. Because it does kind of look like you can have the shield like this, or you can clip on some sort of a clear piece around it to make it look like it's got some magic. So that's kind of cool. And that's what they should have done in the beginning with Wave 1. They should have clipped on the magical parts to the normal weapons and accessories. There it is. The clip-on is clipped on. And so that's cool. I like how they're doing that, if that's really how they're doing it, unless it's two separate ones. But I know they're not springing for two separate shields, so that has to be how they do it. The description doesn't really say, so, and I don't see a full breakdown of parts, but that would be my assumption, and I'm okay with it. I guess we could all just be smart and look at the back of the box, and there it is. The back of the packaging shows it is a clip-on. So this, you get to see the Sheila and Prestos in this wave, so let's go ahead and move on to talking about them. So Presto is pretty cool. There's some stuff they're doing with this. You just kind of think, well, it's simplistic, but what are they going to do to make it cooler or better? So there's a few things they're doing. They're kind of showing it all right here. And what they're doing with this is you get Presto, you get a magic hat, and then you get his hairpiece comes off kind of like they did with G.I. Joe Classified Lady J, but I think this is executed way better. You put a different hairpiece on, that's going to connect the hat. So, in my opinion, you could just go ahead and put that other hairpiece, the hat on that other hairpiece, and just store it like that and swap it around. Obviously, I think 99% of people are going to have this figure with the hat on, with the magic hat on. But then, of course, he also takes his hat off and messes with it sometimes. Also, you have this interesting looking bit of magic that swirls around, so it kind of looks like he's casting a spell, and that's cool too. At first I was a little put off by this accessory, thinking it was just really a cheap cop-out, but when you see it posed, it looks pretty good. Here's a figure by himself with his die. Description says that it's a 4D, so a 4-sided die, I guess. And yeah, it looks like it could be a 4-sided die. And then there's also saying 10D on the Eric figure, so that's 10-sided die. So, pretty cool looking figure. I think that this one looks exactly like the cartoon. Probably the best out of all of these cartoon-wise. But let's see what he looks like when he has his little magic accessory. So, here he is. This is showing if he had his hat off and he was maybe throwing a spell from out of his hat or something like that. So, different options for posing, however you like. I think this is actually pretty cool. After looking at it for a little bit for a couple of days and kind of digesting that this is going to be his accessory, I think it does make sense now, and it does look pretty decent overall. And I don't know what I would have come up with, so I guess I like the creativity that's behind this accessory. Here's the back of his card back, and it does look pretty cool with all of the stuff that he's got. But again, you never get to see the figure. You won't know what it looks like till you get it and you open it up. You see what color. Well, he doesn't have mismatching knees because he's got that skirt on, all that kind of stuff. But does look good. Does look like the cartoon. Very happy with what we're seeing so far. Okay, so next we're moving into the Sheila figure, and she has a 6-sided die. 2, 4, 6. And that's pretty cool. It looks like a real basic kind of 6-sided die there. Basic, easy, simple, good deal. But the thing about this figure is she comes with 2 capes. One is semi-transparent, as if she's starting to disappear, and then the other one is a full cloak. So whether or not she has her hood up or hood down is whether or not she's going to disappear, I guess. And from the show, I think that's what I remember. I think that her costume, her outfit is more pink than purple. There's a little bit differences in the coloring, but still overall, it's a pretty cool figure, and it looks good. And face-wise, it does look pretty darn close to the animation, and just overall, the figure looks good. So, definitely going to be a fun mix with her and Bobby and all those other characters once we get her in. Here's more of a close-up on just the figure and with it. So there's a couple of interesting things. Looks like maybe is it transparent purple pieces on the cloak, on the cape cloak part. So that's pretty cool too overall. And I'm not really a fan of the color choices of the outfit, but it's still fine at the end of the day. I am more worried about this than all the other figures of breakage on the elbows, because she does have small arms. She's a female character, and I would advise heating all these up if you have the opportunity to. Let's heat those things up so you don't break them. Sucks that you have to do that here in modern day toy collecting, but that's just the way it is. But still, I'm still pleased that we're going to be getting these, and I'm happy that Hasbro is putting them out. Here's a picture of her sort of with some sort of a background in there, and nice art that they've got going on. But this kind of shows that there are more paint apps on her than on some of the other figures, and you can see like the orangish yellowish color at the top of her, one of those boots, or is that, I don't know what there's some lady garment there, but that's interesting. Good paint app right there. Looks like a good figure overall, so pretty happy with it. Okay, so I want to touch on some of the issues that we've had with the Wave 1 and why Wave 1's extremely poor performance made me concerned we weren't going to get Wave 2. Now, looking at these figures, I got a Diana and a Hank box. Now, that's a factory thing, and that's because when they wrap these up in this wax paper, and you can't really tell what figure it is, and especially if you're packing 30,000 of these things, and you switch from one to the other, I could see them making that mistake. It's a very simple mistake that a human being can easily make when you can't actually see the figure, matching the package. So that was an issue that happened to me personally. It was happening to other people. So hands on Hank just snapping off right out of the box, and then people breaking their Dianas. I think someone broke a head off of Diana. Lots of parts breaking off of Bobby, and I heard someone's head popped off of Uni. And why is this a big deal? Because if you're paying $25 a figure, and you're really getting like $13 figures, they are really not made that well. But we're not paying for super high quality. What we're paying for is to get a very obscure toy line made at retail, which is amazing. And I'm just shocked they're still making it, but I'm happy they're going forward with it. I have a feeling Hasbro's going to take an overall loss on this toy line. As high priced as they are for really cheap figures, I think they're taking a loss on it because they just keep hanging at my Walmarts. They haven't sold a whole case at any Walmart that I've ever been to or ever seen. And I've never seen them show up at Target, which makes me think Target doesn't really want to mess with it. Now, I've seen some people have Targets that have them in it, but nowhere around here. That gets into my next point. My next point is that finishing this wave, finishing the crew, is, to me, the next step. Well, what's going to happen after it? Once we finish the crew and we have a whole team, where's the other bad guys and the other characters that are in this show? And this is the only chance we're ever going to get them. This is it. This is it. Once this is over, Hasbro won't revisit it. If another company does it, you're looking at $60 and $70 figures. If a really small production run from another company out there, like, people complain about the $25 price point. I know it's high, but it's nothing compared to $60, $70, $100 if you're getting, like, let's say Mezco makes it or some of them. And I really don't know what NECA's going to do. I don't know what their license entails, but we had such high hopes for this, thinking that we might get an animated version of Warduke, or we might get a whole bunch of other things, but it looks like we're not. Maybe we're not. I mean, it would have looked good if we had at least one more figure in the wave, but we don't. We would have had a Tiamat or something, but Hasbro doesn't even bother putting a live stream out about it. I just checked, and the last Hasbro Pulse fan stream there was a Sky Striker, and then there was a Star Wars one 2 weeks ago. So it just seems like they don't even put any emphasis on this toy line at all whatsoever. And I feel like I'm the only one actually talking about this, aside from a couple people with small blurbs in their news. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with this one, and I shouldn't probably advertise this, but I'm going to be pre-ordering it at a couple of different places so that I know I get one, at least one set. But I'd like to have a backup set myself, because who knows what's in those boxes. But I'm curious, what do you think? Are you going to be picking these up? I will have links down below for Amazon, which is the cheapest. So that's where I would suggest to go pre-order them. But then I've had stuff canceled from Amazon, so I don't even know what to say. As soon as Target gets them up, I'll be linking that. But I'm excited to finish this set. I would be more excited knowing there's more coming. I'm disappointed that there's not more coming. I'm a little disappointed in some of the things in this wave. But overall, the whole cohesive collection, I'm happy with. I'm happy with the whole cohesive collection. The rocky roller coaster I've been through and all the videos I made about that, it's okay. It's fine if at the end of it I have a nice looking display of figures. So anyway, I'm curious to hear what you think. Who all's in on this? Like and subscribe. Today, Hanger out.
All right, Eric! Way to go!
I'm sorry we ever doubted you.
Yeah, way to go, Eric!
You see? You see?